What's going on, guys? So in front of you, you are looking at one absolutely beautiful and really rugged looking luxury SUV. This right here is probably one of the most acclaimed luxury SUVs on the road. Whenever you think of vehicles that can just about do it all in a stock format, a lot of people actually think of this vehicle, even though traditionally people who don't know this vehicle or understand its roots and lineage might not understand exactly what this thing's actually capable of. So let's talk about it. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so what you were looking at in front of you is the all-new Lexus GX550. Now, if you are not familiar with the Lexus GX series, and this is the first time you're seeing it, you might think that this is just one of those, glorified luxury SUVs that has a couple off-road characteristics to it to make people who have one feel like they can do anything. Well, this kind of goes above and beyond that, because what you're actually looking at is Lexus's luxury adaptation of a Toyota Land Cruiser. Now, when you look at the Toyota Land Cruiser, there have been a lot of evolutionary changes in the last few years, especially them coming back to kind of their roots with the newest version. I recently reviewed a 2025 Toyota Land Cruiser a few months ago, and it was a really base, bare-bone model. It even had cloth seats. It wasn't loaded with all those luxury amenities. And believe it or not, the new GX is actually built upon that same chassis. In the past, it was built on a different chassis. So now the new Lexus GX550 is actually a Land Cruiser, whereas the Land Cruiser for Toyota is their not-so-large SUV anymore. They actually have several SUVs that are slightly larger, including the Sequoia, of course. So the naming convention for the Land Cruiser as well as the Lexus GX, they've kind of shifted it up a little bit. And the GX cousin on the Toyota side is now the Land Cruiser, where it used to be the LX and the Land Cruiser, if that all makes sense. So a lot of changes have taken place in terms of how they name things. And now what you were looking at is arguably one of the most capable luxury SUVs you can buy in the market in just about every sense. Okay, so let's talk about this thing from an engine drivetrain perspective. So the new GX550 has a twin-turbo 3.4-liter V6. It produces 349 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired to a 10-speed direct-shift automatic transmission. Has standard four-wheel drive. It also has enhanced off-road capabilities due to this GAF platform, which provides increased body rigidity. Available Overtrail and Overtrail Plus trims are designed for serious off-roading, and it features 18-inch wheels with 33-inch all-terrain tires, aluminum skid plates, adaptive suspension with increased wheel articulation, crawl control, and multi-terrain select, and it has a towing capacity all the way up to 9,063 pounds. That's insane. That actually means this can tow more than my GMC Denali half-ton pickup truck with the Duramax diesel engine in it, which is pretty crazy. And what's really cool is the fact that you actually get a trailer brake controller with this built in, where a lot of mid-size pickup trucks don't even include that, even mid-size pickup trucks with tow packages. Fuel economy is 15 miles per gallon in the city and 21 miles per gallon on the highway. The new twin-turbo V6 produces significantly more horsepower and torque versus the previous generation V8s that used to come in these. Let's look under the hood so you guys can see what this 3.4-liter V6 actually looks like. It's a little dirty. This truck has definitely been through a few media drives before. Again, 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 power plant. It definitely is covered well, and as with most Lexuses, they do a good job of making the engine compartment definitely look full. Got your Lexus badging right here. Got your front parking sensors. This is going to have headlight sprayers on it as well. Very nice. As we go around, you can definitely see that steeper curve to the front windshield. Again, kind of going back to the lineage of the Land Cruiser, because that's now the platform that the GX is based off of. You have your running boards right here, nice and low to the ground. Really, really aggressive off-road tires, and these are Toyo tires. These are the Open Country AT3s, I believe. This is built on a frame, so this is not a unibody construction. This is traditional body on frame construction, which I know a lot of people actually care about when it comes to off-road capability. Almost all of your true off-road vehicles are built on a body on frame versus a unibody. You have a beautiful LED light strip across the back here. You have your 2-inch receiver down there, parking sensors, and of course you have a 360-degree camera on here. Coming around to the back. has a very nice, wide, bulky stance to it. It definitely feels like a substantial off-road vehicle. It doesn't feel like something that was just kind of given some fender flares and some added touches. It's a beautiful vehicle, and it was interesting when we first came out here. I was like, oh wow, they delivered it in silver. And my wife came out and she goes, it actually looks really, really nice. And we've had an opportunity to put some miles on this already, so I can definitely give you some driving impressions information as well. But let's hop inside of this vehicle and take a look at what's going on. First thing first, let's go ahead and open up the back so you can see what's going on. This is only a 2-row SUV, so there's no third row to it. But it's interesting because it's almost like it's prepped for a third row because it has cup holders in the very back, unless you just plan on kind of sitting in the back to enjoy time back here. You have some interesting storage options here as well. You have a little bit of storage underneath the back here. Again, remember, this is a body on frame, not unibody, which kind of limits your ability to do creative things with storage like you might normally think. But yeah, there is some interesting access points in here. And I'm trying to uncover if there was anything unique about the back storage that we saw with the Land Cruiser that this might also have. 120 volt, 400 watt power supply back here. You have all your tie downs, and then you have your cover right here, of course, to extend over the back to give you some privacy to anything that you might be storing back here. All right, coming around, let's hop inside. Okay, moving inside, one thing that is kind of interesting is their use of very, very small, kind of narrow mirrors. They function, they're great, but at the same time, they don't stick out very far, and there's no spot mirror. It would be really nice if they put a spot mirror integrated into that, because they definitely have the real estate to do it. Looking at the door right here, we have all of our power functions here, but I don't see a memory seat option. Now, I don't know if it's specifically because of the package we have, but I don't see a memory seat option on here, even though it does have the ability to fold the mirrors in. You can have them auto fold, all your power windows, lock, unlock, and power mirrors. The side door trim is a bit bland. This is all soft touch material. Even though that looks like it might be a piece of aluminum, it's not. And then this is kind of like a harder soft touch material. That's definitely a harder plastic right there and right here. The stitching's really nice. But again, you're talking about a vehicle that's kind of an adaptation of an off-road vehicle. So we may be missing a few of those like glamorous luxury touches to the interior in lieu of that. Looking at the side here, you have your liftgate control. You can turn your parking sensors off. You can turn your AC power on. You have your dimming and all that stuff right here for your gauges. Okay, hopping inside. A very tall windshield. It's not a huge windshield though, but it sits relatively close to you. I can actually, touch the bottom of the windshield right here, which is something I can't do on my Super Duty or my wife's Expedition or many other vehicles. So they put the glass much closer to you, and it actually gives you a really good view over the hood. So your over hood visibility in this is actually really, really nice. Looking down, go ahead and start this up so you can see what's going on with your gauge cluster and everything up here. It is 2 full screens, huge screen over here, another good sized screen over here. You can tell that you have all your sensors and everything built into this space right here. And then all your steering wheel controls. Now, I did find it a little bit more difficult than I thought to kind of navigate around some of these controls and the screens that they take you to, which is a little different than the Lexus of the past. I used to always know intuitively where everything was in previous generation Lexuses, but this one is definitely loaded with a lot more tech, and they're definitely a bit more difficult in terms of getting to the screen you might want to get to. But there's a tremendous amount of information that you can access from your controls here. You can see all sorts of information about what's going on. You can see a lot of information about how you're driving, the different drive settings as well. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of information that's fed through here. And then looking at the center infotainment system and stack, again, huge screen. I believe it's like a 14-inch screen. It is a very, very large screen. I love how they do the little screens inside of the climate control. That is really, really cool. Everything works really well too. It's a little, I don't want to say jittery, but whenever you're turning and you have the navigation up, it feels like it's doing this a little bit, but it all selects really quickly. You don't have this delay that you sometimes see with other vehicles that have infotainment systems with a lot of menus. I do wish that all your AC controls were buttons or knobs. I don't really like that you have to go into these screens to turn on like recirculative air, to be able to turn your AC on or off, or to be able to adjust your seats. It would be really nice if they just maintained buttons for all that stuff. It's just easier to get to. You don't have to think about what you have to touch. You just know exactly where they're at. Further down here, you have your drive modes. You can shift through your different drive modes here, which give you the ability to go from normal, comfort, eco, custom, sport plus, and sport. And these can also dictate your suspension as well as your fuel economy, because they can dictate how the vehicle accelerates or stops and different things like that. You can change to your MTS mode right here, which is going to be your off-road modes: deep snow, mud, sand, dirt, and auto. And then you have your downhill assist and crawl control right here as well, which give you the ability to crawl down or even up things very, very slow without having to keep your foot on the gas pedal. It's a pretty cool feature. You can turn off your traction control, and you have your tow haul mode. And down here, what I really love is the fact that they actually give you a trailer brake controller. So this is something you don't see a lot in vehicles. Honestly, you just don't see this. And this is typically something you see in a pickup truck. So it's great to know that not only do they give you a tremendous amount of tow capacity, they actually give you the brake controller to be able to articulate the brakes on the trailer. You have your camera modes, which you have a tremendous amount of camera modes. All sorts of different angles, including the angle that you're actually at, which is kind of cool. You can change to different views. And they even have this little through vehicle view, which is pretty awesome. But again, what's kind of interesting is that some of these views are so different that you really don't know what the application for them might be. They have this through vehicle view right here, which is pretty awesome as well. As you drive up, you can see what's under the vehicle, in essence, through the cameras that are recording the data and kind of displaying it. But down here, 12-volt outlet. I love the fact that it still has a 12-volt outlet in here. I don't know what a lot of this other trim is for. It seems like it would be used to hold a phone, smart charger, but it's not. Your actual wireless charging system would be back here. You can hold 2 cups right here. You can lock your rear differential, or you can lock your center differential, which is really nice as well. And then you have your 4-wheel drive controls right here also. Your parking brake. Over here is your glove box. And there's only one glove box, but I do love this little kind of handle / pocket that they give you here. Plus they give you a handle here, and they give you a handle here. They give you handles all over this. It does have heated and ventilated seats, which are nice. And the seats are really, really comfortable. Lexus has always had an insanely comfortable seat, and this is absolutely no different. But let's hop in the back real quick and take a look at it. Okay, as we hop in the back, power window controls. Again, you have a lot of the silvers here. That is still soft touch material. And this is my first time actually in the back seat, so I'll give you my impression of it. Does not have rear air conditioning controls back here, but you do have, looks like you have 2 USB-C power outlets back here. You have 2 nice pockets as well. Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind whenever you're thinking of this vehicle is that this is not a full-size SUV. This is definitely a mid-size SUV, and the space you have back here is pretty good, though it's not what you would expect in a full-size SUV. However, it definitely is more comfortable than a mid-size pickup truck in every sense, because you have the ability for these back seats to actually recline, which gives you significantly more or better posture whenever you are sitting in the seat, which makes for a far more comfortable trip if you're going to be traveling. You have your center armrest right here. And to be honest with you, it's a fair amount of room. It's not a tremendous amount of room. I definitely have enough knee room here. I have a few more inches, but if you are a taller person, like over 6'3", this might be a bit of a challenge for you. Kind of an interesting swoop down effect that they put down right here. This is very unique. I'm not really sure exactly what that's for, but they have a really interesting center hump right there. But overall, the seats are very, very comfortable, and it's certainly an SUV that you could spend a lot of time in. Definitely okay with the setup here. It's a great mid-size format, and what I can also tell you is that the riding characteristics in this SUV are fantastic. We've had an opportunity to put, I'm going to say probably about 30 miles on it so far. We've been trying to drive it around as much as possible since we've gotten it, which has only been a few days ago, and it really has an amazing ride. It's one of those things to where I talk about pickup truck rides and how pickup trucks are becoming more like luxury SUVs. Well, they're not becoming more like this. I've yet to find a pickup truck that rides as smooth as this SUV. This SUV rides incredibly smooth. Part of it is probably due to the fact that this does have a very adaptive off-road suspension built into it that's designed to articulate and give you that movement. But the way Lexus dampens that suspension is insane. It is just absolutely brilliant. And it translates to a very, very comfortable ride. Lexus has always been known for a ride that leans more towards the softer side, but controllable soft. And it doesn't bounce around a lot. It takes bumps in like a floating, gliding way, but then it really quickly dampens that as it comes back down. So you lose the shock. You get the cloud feeling without the shock, without the bouncing feeling, and it's a really, really great ride. And quite frankly, Lexus has always been one of the most reliable vehicles you can buy. So to mix all this comfort, all this technology, all of the riding characteristics into a package that you shouldn't really have to worry about from a reliability aspect is pretty dang awesome, and the folks at Lexus have definitely done it again with this GX550. Anyways, guys, I would love to know, what is your opinion? What do you guys think about it? We're going to have it for a little longer, so I'm going to have an opportunity to put more miles on it and give you a longer-term impression of this vehicle. But so far, this is a vehicle that when me and my wife are driving in it, she's like, wow, I could see us owning this. Even though it might not be the flashiest up front, it may not look the most high-tech, it may not have some things like memory seats and massaging seats that some people have come to expect from certain models of luxury vehicles, but it delivers on what it's designed to deliver on, and that is incredibly capable off-road, super luxurious, with an unbelievable ride characteristic. And that's what Lexus is all about, plus delivering the quality and the reliability that people expect from a vehicle like this. Anyways, I would love to know what your opinion is. Please drop a comment below and let me know what you think. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.